Alright, so I have 4 tonight. One's there. One's there. I don't know where the other 2 are. But I did see them. They are following. Perry is inside. He doesn't really go that far. I mean, that cat can take off like you wouldn't believe, but it's really tiring to hop on one foot. So he only goes maybe half the distance that these other cats do. So I basically bribed him with food and he's in the house. And okay, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, they're around. Maybe they're following and maybe they're not. But I left the house with 4. That's how it works with my cats. So yesterday I was trying to make a video and it cut me off and I posted it anyway, which is really weird. Sorry about that. But I also know that I need to do these when the mood strikes. It's obviously, I'm not putting these out regularly. So, you know, and as you know, I'll probably go through and take them all down relatively soon anyway. Last time I did a purge, I don't know what it was, like 3 months ago or something, and I took down like, I don't know, 50 videos. I really shouldn't say that. People will be like, oh my god, how many do you have? I think there's like 400 or 500 altogether. And a lot of them I just sort of decommission and hide. There were a bunch that I actually just straight up deleted. They were like 50 of them or something that I just was like, done, gone. Don't ever want to see these again. But I do go through and say, you know, that one wasn't so bad. Maybe I should put it back up. Every once in a while. Not that I'm saying to watch. Anyway, whatever. Not the point. Not the point at all. I got a car and I got 1, 2. Oh, come on, purse. You kill my cat, I'm gonna kill you. There, y'all heard it. Actually, that one that was running in the street is the one that usually nobody can see because he camouflaged. So maybe you actually saw him. Wow. Because I definitely don't see him now. He's actually probably right there in the shadows looking at me, but very good at blending in. I don't know who's coming. Maybe I'm going to be by myself. Whatever. Yeah. So the point of yesterday, when I was droning on and on and on about all this lovely crap going on in my life, is that I keep hearing from people that now I get to have a life. It's hilarious. I talked about one of my cousins who was all but noxious the day after my mother died. Who thought, okay, cool, party, let's go hang out at this house and eat all the food that everybody's brought over, which of course nobody actually brought any food, so she was really disappointed by that. She thought it was going to be a party and she could sit there and just hang out and chat. And I was going crazy trying to empty my mother's apartment. And she was like, you know, seeing me be like, okay, either you're working or you're leaving, but we're not having a conversation and we're not going to be social. She was like, okay, well, this is the way you've been your whole life. But then my other cousins, which I don't know, maybe just knew me a little less well, kind of freaking me out that that car is up there and parked. Okay, I got 2 following. I don't have the big guy that needs to be doing the following, that needs to get the weight off. I don't see him. Anyway, this here cousin of mine, other cousin of mine that maybe doesn't know me as well, is like, cool. Now you like can have a life and go do whatever you would do. And I'm like, wait. They're meowing at me. I'm like, do you seriously think that I don't do anything literally because I'm stapled down because of my kid? Here's reality. You get a kid, and unless you're wanting to go to like orgies or get bombed in bars every night and, drive home blitzed, or, there we go, 1, 2, 3. Can you even see him? 1, 2, 3. Hey, he doesn't usually let people see him. But, he's trying to protect me. Maybe he's trying to take the place of Perry, who always protected me and got in the way and took down a German Shepherd and definitely would take down any chicken that came near me. And I mean that literally. I live sort of in the country. That's interesting. Somebody's banging up there. Anyway, yeah, once you have a kid, it doesn't actually cramp your style that much. Yeah, I know, Pop. There's people up there. I don't know why they're there, but they are there. So I guess we gotta hang out here. Did you see him flop over like that? See, he's not as fat as when I first got him, because my cats were all abused. When I first got him, when he laid down on his side, he could not get the upper feet to touch the ground. So I'm thinking he's really fat, but he's not as bad as when I got him, so that's good. Anyway, yeah. So no. My cousin, who seems to think that I'm not hanging out with people is because I'm being, having my style cramped by my son. I mean, yes, it is difficult to be a single parent. And yes, it is very difficult to be a single parent of an autistic child. However, no, I could have gone out and done stuff if I really wanted to, unquestionably. And I've done it. As you know, I just took off for Canada. I mean, really seriously, I think it was the Thursday that I made all the reservations for the Monday following. I mean, it was really fast. And I probably will do that again soon because, that's the type of thing I would do. That's not having a kid that's the issue. That's having a full schedule that's the issue. And now I'm going to have a schedule that's packed. As packed. But anyway, that doesn't mean I'm going to be hanging out with my cousins drinking, which is apparently what they think that I should be doing. It doesn't mean that I'm suddenly going to go get a partner, boy toy, whatever, which is also something that I've heard again and again. I mean, that's ridiculous and stressful, and okay, going over it doesn't really matter. Because people do not agree with my reality. In theory, people have an idea of how people interact with each other, and then there's the actual reality of how people interact with me. And so, yes, I can tell you for sure that that would be a no-go. No. Even without the kid. No. Been there, done that. I mean, I have a kid, so yes, I've been there and I've done that. And I know exactly what. When I was young, which makes a difference, it was still like 10,000 to 1 shot. So now it's probably 100,000 to 1 at least. And you know what? There's just not enough people. I'm not going to sort through 100,000 people. Even though it's probably even less than that, realistically. Let's be real here. It's 100,000 to 1, not including all the people who've actually already settled into relationships. So they're off the market. So yeah, probably a few million to 1 chance that I could find somebody that would be. Anyway. Whatever. I'm rambling, as usual, and talking about stuff that I could be going down a rabbit hole and I don't really want to. So I will get back to the point, which is this. My therapist has told me that I need to basically get a life and figure out what I'm going to do, because he thinks it's kind of sad that I'm going to be completely alone with 5 cats and no social interactions at all. I mean, that's accurate. That's completely accurate. But, yeah, I mean, on the one hand, this is great. It makes things very easy. It is going to be really hard. So he wants me to find stuff to get a life. And I'm just like, no. You coming? Hard no. Oh, there's people to both sides. I know, Poppy, it's so scary, isn't it? There's people, too many people. I came out way too early, huh? Yeah. So my therapist sometimes is kind of on the ball, and other times he's not. Like, for instance, my son has got a job coach because he's autistic, and he's just started his new job. And he's, of course, moving. I mean, now he lives with me, and it's a disaster that I take him to work every day and back again, because he's just not nice to me, let's put it that way. But when he goes to college and he doesn't live with me, then there's no way I'm going to drive him back and forth to work. I mean, one of the biggest benefits of him going to college is that there will be the break. People have even wondered if we are codependent, which I don't think we are, to say the least. I mean, I definitely don't encourage his behavior, but he might be dependent. I mean, he is, obviously, but I mean, like, clinically dependent. And so it's going to be very good for both of us to have this break and really not have any contact at all with each other. Because even when he had inpatient programs, I would still go every day and visit. And actually, again, that's one of the most nastiest things I've ever heard. Easy top 10, leapfrogging a lot of what my family said to me, a social worker when he was in the hospital. When I had surgery and flew in to visit him at the hospital before the pain meds wore off, and I, instead of taking care of myself after surgery, this social worker had the nerve to tell me that maybe it'd be better if he went into foster care because, quote, then he'd have a family. And I was like, what the fuck am I then? Doing more for this kid than anybody ever has probably done for their individual kid, especially as a single parent. I mean, it's one thing if you've got somebody who is doing everything in your house and maintaining the household and making sure bills are paid and everything else, and then there's a second parent that's taking care of a disabled child, but I did it all on my own. And he doesn't have a family? It was seriously one of the worst, most hurtful, disgusting things that I've ever heard. It was so bad that even though I'm, avoidant, and I took it massively personally, I had to reject that as, like, utterly bogus and stupid. And that's saying something for something to be that bad. That somebody with avoidant personality disorder recognized that was, inordinately out of line and inaccurate and did not apply. What are these two doing? Hi. Come to see me? Anyway, yeah, so it's going to be good to have the break with the kid. But as far as doing something with my time, yeah, right. Hey, cat. No, I don't think I'll be doing anything. I think it'll be a vacuum suck of time. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And definitely number one on the list is I should be writing more. A few years ago, like 3 years ago maybe, I had a concussion. Actually, my son gave me a concussion. It was a pretty serious concussion. And my output has been so low since that happened. I mean, like maybe 1/20th, maybe less, since I had the concussion. And I keep hoping that it's going to come back, and I don't think it is. So, yeah, there were points where I could write over 10,000 words a day. And I was cranking out books in, I think the shortest was 17 days. Wrote an entire 60,000 word novel. There was a time I could do that, and now I can't, and I don't think I can anymore. It's not that I'm incapable of articulating myself, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. I just can't do it anymore. So, sit around and take the time and write the great American novel, that's not going to happen. Because I can't do anything of that magnitude and length anymore, and it might be permanent. I mean, it's been years. It might be permanent. I mean, it might be that my kid is sucking this life out of me and all dealing with all his people. And, yesterday I had a big meeting with trying to get him benefits as an adult and blah, 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 and dealing with the school and all this other crap. And maybe, I doubt it. I'm like accepting my reality. Maybe that's the problem. And if I don't have that killing me all the time, maybe I can start writing again. Maybe. But I think that the other side of it, which is that I will not be interacting with anybody seriously, even negative, even abusive. I will be interacting with nobody. Yeah, I think that's going to be a problem. I think that's going to be a big problem. Oh, well, I mean, I hear that a lot. Avoidant people, I don't hear that a lot, though. I hear it from people who probably aren't avoidant. Look at these two. That they wish they could just be in a cave somewhere. Because people forget the other part of the avoidant thing. The avoidant thing is that you avoid relationships. You can't tolerate them. You can't have anything that resembles, an ongoing normal relationship type thing. And even if it's going really good, if it's too consistent, it will pressure you into screwing it up or, seeing it as a bad thing. There's that part, yeah. That's how you interact with people. But then we're human beings, and we're animals, and we're social, and we live in groups, and you can't just turn that off. I mean, that's real. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. And every once in a while I get these messages saying, I could be your friend. And I'm like, no. Thank you. Nope. No, you really couldn't. That is not a good plan. Because again, then the avoidant thing comes in. So I'm really seriously between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what to do with people, because I know there are a lot of people out there that I talk to that are like, I live with my family. And when they die, what happens? Well, I don't live with my family. But more or less, everything is getting severed. My mother did die. My father can't remember anything anymore. Yeah, he's deteriorating quickly. Now, my grandmother had dementia, I think it was 12 years before she finally died. Although she just had Alzheimer's. She didn't have it this bad, and she got diagnosed way before he did. I don't know. I don't think he's going to live very long. He should, because he's having everything taken care of for him, but the problem is they don't recognize pain or illness or anything like that. I mean, he almost died in March because he wasn't taking care of himself. So now he's being taken care of. They're monitoring and making sure that he's, eating good food and drinking and not getting dehydrated and all this nifty stuff. But I mean, he could have cancer or something like that, and nobody would know. He does have diabetes. It's actually being checked now. That's one of the things that's good about him being at home. But I mean, something could kill him, or the dementia could kill him. Alzheimer's does kill. And then, of course, my son is gone, and my son he swears he's never going to call me. And I don't know, that might be bull. I mean, I might hear from him 96 times. But I also think there's a very good chance I won't hear from him. Not unless there's a problem. And when I refuse to help him through his problem because he's an adult and he's in charge of his life now, I don't think he's going to call me ever again. And that's not me dissing my son, and that's not me being avoidant. He's autistic. And things that are not in his sight, he forgets about. Are you going to go up that tree? You could do it. I don't think you should. I think that she's getting cataracts. But then again, it looks like she's going to go up the tree. So, whatever. Anyway, so, yeah. That's one of the things my therapist was wondering. How it was possible that I can believe that nobody could like me and be attracted to me at all. Which is true, of course. And I was explaining to him, I think this is where I was talking yesterday and got cut off, that people have impressions of other people, and when they don't sort of live up to their expectations, they ditch you. It happens all the time. And the problem with me, I don't know if this is across the board with avoidance. Maybe it's just unique to me. Like I said, this is not part of the diagnosis criteria, so who the heck knows? Maybe this is my personal maladaptive coping technique. I usually don't talk about myself, especially, I mean, even in therapy, it's like pulling teeth. I'll talk about my kid. I'll talk about this other stuff I'm going through. But I won't actually talk about myself. Trying to get me to have a preference is staggeringly difficult. When I mean, it's so hard, you wouldn't believe, for me to say, this is something I like. Because I'm expecting to get judged for it. So I just don't. So when I meet people, because of course I would never interact with some. I do actually interact with somebody who I don't in person, online, who actually had seen the videos before I started like interacting, and it was a trauma. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, because it's like they're different worlds. My son does it really bad, and I accuse him of it and point it out to him. And I mean, he's explicit. Like, these people cannot interact with each other. But for me, you know, people hearing these videos, I wouldn't ever want them to. And if they knew me, and if they were talking to me, no. In real life, I deflect. I don't talk about myself. I tell these great stories about other people. Okay, I shouldn't. But I mean, I don't. That sounded really vain and cocky, but I can speak, right? And I can also edit. So I can cull the good stories. Not okay, now I really am like against a wall here because I described it like that. You know, I know how to tell a technically correct story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I know how to recognize that this is a story with drama. So I will tell people stuff about other things other than myself, and almost never tell anybody about myself. And so people think they know me, and they don't. They don't. And then they have like this idea of who I am. It's basically like whatever fantasy perfection thing that they came up with. And I'm nothing like it at all. And then they, you know, so they like quote unquote me, but it's not actually me. It's their idea that I'm an avatar. I'm like a paper doll that they could put in there. And I've had people do the same thing physically, which is stunning. Stunning to me. Because, you know, I'm a girl. So, like, for instance, if you wear a bra and it will put everything in the right place, but then when you're nearly 50 years old and you take the bra off, everything falls and droops. Well, apparently this is an issue for people. And I actually had somebody that I was, the last person, as a matter of fact, that I was dating literally said, you know, I kind of like you better with your clothes on. Direct quote. So it's the same thing. They've got this idea that has nothing to do with reality, and the reality always sucks. So that is why I don't interact with people. And it's the same with, like, well, I mean, you have to interact with people to become friends with somebody. You have to interact with people to even become acquaintances with somebody. So that doesn't happen in my real life. People think I'm chatty and forgettable when it comes to interacting, like at a grocery store or whatever, you know. But I'll never see these people again, so it's cool. So I can, like, talk to them or whatever they want to talk about. That's great. And, you know, it's not talking about something I'm interested in. It's talking about whatever they're interested in. And so they might have, like, a decent impression of me. But it's completely bogus. So even if I interacted with somebody, if they liked me at all, they don't actually like me. they like this fantasy thing they come up with that, you know, they can fit me into. So there's no point. So yeah, I will be alone and have a lot of empty time when my son goes to school. And I don't know what I'm going to do. My therapist wants me to come up with something. He thinks I should just spend my life in the gym, which is kind of sad and pathetic. But it could work. Anyway, so yeah, I don't like to make these videos and not say, and here's my suggestion on what you should do. This is my advice. This is how this might help you. I don't know. Nothing will help me. I don't know what to say. Other than the countdown is on. What is today? Today's the 6th. I think it's 3 weeks my son leaves. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. He's not all that interested in it. He's not like checking his emails. I'm a planner. He's not. He's just like, yeah, I'll just check my emails once a week. I'm like, dude, you could get all your books by now. You could find out who your roommate is and connect with them and talk to them before you actually have to sleep in the same room with them. That sort of thing, but he's not doing that. He's not interested. Anyway, I guess this is the end. So, sorry about the disjointed videos that aren't giving any advice at all. I don't know. But maybe it's a little insight that you could relate to, unfortunately, if you are avoidant. Or if you think you're avoidant, maybe if you don't recognize what I'm talking about, it will make you realize that you maybe aren't avoidant and maybe really should go out and get an actual diagnosis, find out what's going on, and hopefully get some help. Bye.